with the big news and the fact that Foreigner have finally got the nomination to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I say finally because it's been such a long time that you've had to wait for this. Was it something that you thought was never going to happen?
I thought it was never going to happen. I saw our peers who were founded and started playing around the same time we did. Many of them got nominated and inducted already, and 10 years went by and we still didn't get nominated. So I pretty much given up hope, was ready to write it off. So it was a huge surprise. And I got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, we all have indeed. You say it's a huge surprise. How did you find out that the band had finally been nominated?
Foreigner's manager gave me a call because we had been talking about that years ago, and he gave me a call and he said, "I just want to give you some good news that Foreigner's finally been nominated." He says, "That doesn't mean we're in." He says, "But it's a good sign."
Absolutely. And obviously it's another accolade to add to the list. You've got platinum records galore and everything else that you've achieved throughout your career. But just how much does it mean to be nominated, to finally be able to be lined up amongst that sort of stuff? Because you have had to wait such a long time.
It means a lot. I mean, these, most of these people are my peers. And I'm whenever I hear one of them getting in, I'm almost always thrilled about it, and then I start reflecting upon what's wrong with us, and I don't think there's anything wrong with us. I'm not quite sure why we hadn't been nominated up to this point, but I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm just happy we are now.
Absolutely. And as we speak, the votes, because it's a public vote at the moment, it's very close at the top. I think Foreigner is still sitting in second, so it's looking good on that front. And you've got a lot of celebrity backers as well. Now, what did you make of that very funny Paul McCartney video that he released on Twitter or whatever it's called these days?
I was so surprised that he even would bother looking at those things, let alone keeping track. And it was a really nice, thoughtful thing to say.
Absolutely. And we're all waiting to see if you get in, and like you said, it's not for definite that you will get in, but to be nominated is fantastic. But have you spoken to Mick about the nomination and what would happen if you guys finally did get accepted?
I haven't spoken to Mick. I'm not sure if he's what health situation he's in. I've spoken to, like I said, the manager, Phil Carson. I haven't talked to any of the other guys in Foreigner. Nobody's given me a call, but I'm sure that the calls will be coming, sometime soon. I'm sure Mick and I will touch base also very soon.
Absolutely. And just talking about yourself, Lou, you've obviously been a very busy boy lately. You've been out on the road, and you've publicly stated that this will be it. This year is your last year of touring. You've done enough.
I think so. Yeah, I put in a number of decades, and while it's been fun, you got to be smart enough to see when it's time to stop.
And what is the reason for that? And why is it time now, do you think?
Well, for me, it's just I think traveling is such a hassle these days. We don't do show after show. We do 1 or 2 shows a week, so we fly, and I don't have to tell you what flying these days is like.
Yep, absolutely.
all the hang-ups at the airports, and you book a seat and you get on the plane and they've switched your seat. No accountability. They kind of just when they say they rule the skies, they mean inside the plane and outside.
Very true. I speak to many people who say things like, it's not being on stage that you get paid for, it's the traveling and the staying in hotels and all that sort of stuff.
It must be, yeah. I mean, the hotels have been great the past bunch of years. I think there's a lot of name brand hotels that have been remodeling and redoing their appearance inside and out and stuff. But travel's the big one, and even cancellations. We usually play a show, stay overnight, and then I want to fly out nice and early in the morning so I can get home. And I'll get to the airport and I'll have a 8:30 in the morning flight, and then I'm sitting at the gate with about 10 minutes before we board, and I find out canceled, and then the next flight's at 11:50. we get close to that, and that's canceled. And the last flight's at 8 o'clock at night, and wouldn't you know it, that's canceled too.
Yep.
So then you got to find a place to stay. And years ago, that would happen to me when Mick and I were writing songs. I was in New York writing with him, and if for some reason a flight was canceled and there wasn't any other flights, they would pick you up in a town car from the airport, drive you into Manhattan, put you in a nice hotel, all expenses paid, free breakfast, and a little spending money they give you too.
Oh, very nice.
Very nice, you know. And one time that happened to me again, and I was kind of I said, well, I don't have another flight home. I says, are you going to help us out with a ride and some room? She goes, and she looks at me and she goes, we don't do that anymore. And I go, oh, okay. Yeah. It's, you know, a lot of things in the world, in particular this country, are changing, and it's a little bit of a rough ride now.
Yeah, you're left to fend to yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, and it could get a lot rougher too.
Indeed. We'll leave that there. But in terms of touring and performing, like you said, you're doing it this year. What sort of stuff do you do? Is it a mix of foreigner and your own solo stuff that you do?
Yes, it is. Yep, and it's a good blend of songs from my 2 albums and the Shadow King album as well, and some of the big hits, some of the things I've been involved in writing with Mick. We do a bunch of the foreigner songs too, and I've got to tell you that between the two musics, it brings the house down.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it does. And in terms of your voice, obviously, it's difficult when you get a little bit older. Voice changes, it drops and stuff. So do you have to change the key for certain songs, or do you still find you're able to hit what you could before?
You know what? I brought the songs down a half a step about 15 years ago, and I have no problem hitting it.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I'm in fantastic vocal shape, and my health is as good as it's been in a number of years.
That's great to hear, Lou. Great to hear. And you talk about your voice being in great shape, and you recently announced that you're going to have an album as well later this year. What can you tell us about that? Well,
it's going to be a number of new songs. Some of the songs were from, you know, when you record an album, and usually there's 10 songs on the album, but you usually record 13 or 14 and choose either the best 10 or the 10 that are finished.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'd been doing that for my 2 solo albums and the Shadow King album, but there were always 2 or 3 songs that were really good ideas, just without the time to finish them. So I went back and I dug up those ideas, and there's about 3 or 4 of them that I finished that are going to be on this album.
Fantastic. And in terms of newer material, are you writing yourself, or do you write with other people?
Oh, well, I've been writing with a few other people, but I've been writing myself too, and there's a good selection of brand new, unheard of by the human ear songs, and it's been a fun album to put together. I didn't do it with any time schedule in mind, so it's taken a little over 2 years. But I got it the way I want it, and I'm pleased with the material and the performances. So that's worth waiting for, I think.
Absolutely. And how much longer do we have to wait before we can get to hear it?
I think there's supposed to be a single out possibly in July, and maybe by October the album will be out.
Fantastic. And who have you got working on that? What musicians have you got alongside you on there?
I've got my live band that's with me, the All Stars, who is Jeff Jacobs, who used to play with Foreigner, on keyboards. My brother Ben on drums. Scott Gilman on rhythm guitar and sax. He also played with Foreigner. Tony Franklin on bass, and
fretless bass monster. Yep.
Yes, but he's a monster. And Alex Garcia on guitar.
Oh, fantastic stuff. And will you have a little tour after that towards the end of the year just to promote that record?
I think so, yeah. I think we're going to go till the end of the year, so I'm hoping that as soon as it comes out, we'll just slide three or four songs into the set, you know?